It's time to introduce now one of my favorite groups of every year, and that is this year's Hot Concept winners. Each year, we recognize emerging brands from across the U.S. that we believe have the best potential to become household names in the future. And this year, that group includes 4 exciting companies. Let's give a warm welcome to the 2022 Hot Concepts winners. Our first winner is Lucas Bradbury, the CEO and founder of Project Pollo. The chicken, burgers, and shakes served at this 15-unit concept are all plant-based alternatives, but its menu is only part of the story, as you will find out. Congratulations, Lucas. Our next winner of the Hot Concepts is 60 Vines, and here to represent 60 Vines is CEO Jeff Carcara. This 6-unit FB Society concept taps deeply into wine culture with 60 different varieties, a wine country ambiance, and a commitment to sustainability. Next up, we have Jonah Goldman, who is the co-founder and director of strategic marketing at Plant Burger. Jonah, come onto the stage. Set in a fast food environment, Plant Burger got its start inside of Whole Foods markets across the East Coast, and it opened its first brick and mortar in New York City in 2021. And last, but of course not least, Brianna Valdez, the founder and CEO of Home State. Brianna is a Texas native and opened Home State in Los Angeles when she had a hard time finding restaurants that reminded her of home. The restaurants offer Tex-Mex style tacos and Southern hospitality. I'm also very excited to hand over the reins of this session to somebody who is an incredible partner for emerging brands like our Hot Concepts winners, and that is Andrew K. Smith, the managing partner for Savory Restaurant Fund, and he is here to moderate the session. Welcome.
To start out today, we thought we would start with a dance, so we're gonna go ahead and stand up. No,
I'll do it.
I always tell people, be ready to dance if you're gonna be with me. I think about being a hot concept, and I think that everybody in here that is a restaurant operator, I think you always want to be a hot brand. And I think what a cool award every year to have is a hot concept award. I think that all the other awards are cool, but not as cool as the hot concept award. You think about going into a dance floor and you want to be the hot guy or girl at the dance floor. These guys right here are the hot guys of the dance floor, and Brianna, you are the hot girl of the dance, just so you know. Everybody wants to dance with her for sure. But congratulations to each of you. This is a huge award. I remember being a young operator myself with 1 or 2 brands or locations, and I thought, does anybody even recognize me or know who I am? And as you grow and you get to the point where you're 10 units and then 15 units and 20, you just start getting some recognition. And so I think it's great that we're giving these guys some recognition today. And now they're on your radar and you're going to be monitoring them. I know that I will. But obviously you know each of them now. They were just introduced. But I think that we're going to just start first and foremost with the question of what do you believe has made you guys a hot brand? There's obviously a lot of things that go into being a hot brand, and maybe you don't feel hot, Lucas, but what has made Project Pollo a hot brand?
Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal question. I think when we started, we never had any anticipation of becoming anything but taking care of the community and taking care of our team. And I think when you have core business drivers internally that you focus on and keep laser vision on, knowing what you want to accomplish, knowing how to accomplish them, and just going every single day, pushing through it, getting in the mud, getting in the dirt, digging through the grind, I think eventually your systems start to come together, your team starts to come together, and you start to build something that's beautiful and that can translate into a larger picture. And we sit here 2 years later on our anniversary yesterday as a company, and that's the truth. We never had any anticipation outside of the first thing was opening a food truck in San Antonio, Texas, just to see, do people want to eat the product? And fast forward, it's everyone wants to eat the product. So I think it's just staying focused, don't deviate away from your core, and understand the value of the integrity behind what you're trying to build.
I love it. Brianna, tell us why Home State is a hot brand and how you're going to stay hot.
Oh my gosh, I love the question because I I'm the founder and CEO of Home State, but I'm also a huge fan of Home State. You're
your biggest fan, is what you're saying.
I'm a huge fan of it. I always say if I wasn't the founder, I'd go there at least once a week. I have a lot of fun when I go there. One of the things I think facilitates that is we're sharing a very unique story that you can't find anywhere else. And we do it in a way that I feel proud of. It has a lot of integrity, but it's also really fun. So we try and combine those two things. How do we provide incredible hospitality, a really beautiful food product that we're all proud of, make it affordable for most, and play great music, have great design, make it easy so that people can feel comfortable and at ease. So if you can disarm people where they feel like they can be loud, talk loud, bring their kids, make a mess, bring your dog, come for a meeting, come for a birthday, come here for whatever you need, come in your pajamas for breakfast, come in a suit for your power lunch meeting. It's just a mix of people that come together to meet their needs at whatever time of day. We're open from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. So you see different people at different times of day utilizing the space in different ways. And I think that the combination of people feeling really comfortable and with a mix of other people all around them at different age groups and backgrounds, with great music and great food, and great hospitality and warmth, and team members that ideally really want to be there and feel good and nurtured and happy to be there. I think those things combine to make really great energy, and who doesn't want to be part of that?
Yeah, and just to follow up for you, Brianna, do you feel like you were a hot brand at the beginning, and you're the same hotness now? Do you feel like it's gotten hotter, or do you feel like it's diluting as you add more units?
Well, I think we've gotten way hotter.
Wow, confidence.
I know.
I love
because
it.
I think in the beginning, just when you're first starting, you're coming out for me, I'll speak for myself, just kind of putting one foot in front of the other, not taking many risks. Like, I need to get the food right, we need to get this right, and just get the basics, your foundation leveled. But after that, you can start adding different components in, more distinct elements to the brand that make it more fun. And I personally enjoy and engage with it more. And I think others along the way have engaged and had more fun along the way. So I think we've only discovered ourselves more, become more truly who we are and who we want to be, and haven't lost sense of what the foundation was along the way. So I think it's only improved the guest experience and become, more people get to enjoy it and have fun with it.
I love it. So Jonah, you are with Plant Burger, and you're up in the Northeast, right? And I think that most people that start a company, they think, boy, wouldn't it be great if a big brand would recognize me? And you guys got recognized and did a partnership with Whole Foods early on. Anybody would think, boy, any brand that can go and create a partnership with Whole Foods would be a hot brand. Tell us a little bit about that partnership, and is that what has made you hot, or do you feel that Plant Burger as a standalone brand has become hot, side or lateral to that Whole Foods partnership?
Thank you for the question, and also I just want to say what an honor it is to be here on this stage with this amazing panel. We are hot regardless of our partnerships. The brand itself is hot. The partnership with Whole Foods certainly enabled us to do a proof of concept in a way that I think was lean and cunning. But what makes us hot is outside of that partnership. What makes us hot is the deliciousness, the chef-crafted part of our brand, that we have some of the best burger chefs in the world who lend their culinary expertise to our menu. Certainly that is a differentiator. We aim to be the best burger joint in the world. Shouldn't matter that we're plant-based or if we're animal-based at all. We just want to deliver a superior product. So burgers, fries, and shakes, we want to be recognized as the hottest brand out there doing burgers, fries, and shakes. We also recognize that what else makes us hot? I mean, there's lots of other people doing burgers, fries, and shakes. There's a mission behind it. It's uplifting. It's fun and empowering for a guest to come in and enjoy the classic comfort foods they know and love, and connect to the environmental impact, to feel good about themselves physically, morally, economically. Those are parts of the experience that make it so hot, and the fact that we really obsess about guest experience. You can't be the hottest girl at the dance unless you understand what attracts other people to you. So understanding our diners, understanding the market, and crafting solutions to what they are telling us we need to fulfill or what we need to change about a restaurant comes together to, I guess, make us a hot concept.
Yeah, great full circle there. So Jeff, you have had a distinguished career with some really hot concepts. And 60 Vines is a very cool concept. I'm from Chicago originally, and so as I grew up, I would go and sit in these restaurants, and you'd be like, man, this is such a cool concept. And you've been part of several of those. 60 Vines is right up there with the coolest brands that have been out there. Tell me, within the full service world that we're in, because I have portfolio companies that are full service as well, is full service still hot? I mean, obviously you're sitting up here, so NRN felt that, and I feel the same, but is full service still hot, and what makes 60 Vines hot?
Yeah, I think experience is still hot, and that's what 60 Vines provides, and that's what, you can provide it at full service, you can provide it at fast casual or whatever, but it's experience today's guests want. And, we were chatting about this earlier, pre-COVID, there was a lot of chatter, in the industry and people wanting to call casual dining dead, and really it's transactional dining that is kind of dying on a full service level. I think what we're doing, providing adventure and discovery every day, every time you walk in our restaurant, that's an experience. And that's what today's guests really looking for, I believe.
Yeah, and tell me about that experience. When you say it's about the experience, what is 60 Vines doing specifically to make the experience above and beyond anything else that they're experiencing?
Well, the story in and of itself is, we have a mission. For every keg of wine we tap, we save 26 bottles from going in the landfill. And there's a lot of other sustainability efforts we do, but that's one of the number one reasons we went to keg. There's a lot of other reasons though. Last glass is as good as the first. Comes out at the right temperature every time. But from an experience standpoint, it's, I mentioned adventure and discovery just a minute ago. With 60 wines on tap, being able to taste anything from a white Tempranillo to a Pic Pol out of France to, a Napa Cabernet, at a very low cost of entry and a low barrier to entry. So you can taste anything for free. You can have a little bit more for $4 to $6 on a 2 ounce or 2.5 ounce pour, but then you can get it at 8 ounces, 5 ounces, or a full 750 milliliters. So you really can come in. It's an opportunity to try things you're not normally going to try. And that's where the experience comes in. You pair that with wine country food, wine country from around the world. So we're not just focused on California. We have Spanish, we have Italian, and of course Napa and California style cuisine. But we have an international menu that pairs so well with all these wines. And literally, you walk in there every day and can have a wine tasting and have a different experience every night of the week.
It's unbelievable. Let's go down the road of plant-based. We obviously have two individuals up here representing that whole segment. If you were to ask me 5 years ago, do I think that there was going to be a restaurant dedicated to just plant-based, I probably would have said no, and I would have been ashamed to say that now because you guys are obviously hot concepts. But let's talk about plant-based. The people that are coming into your restaurants right now, Lucas, do you think they're coming in out of curiosity, like I'm curious right now to go into a Project Pollo because I've not been there yet, I'm sorry. I tried to go before I came today, there's not one here. So you're going to be here soon though, right? Denver's on the map.
It's on the map.
It's on the map,
It's
okay.
on the map.
But tell me about the people that are walking in your store right now. Is it because they want plant-based, they're curious, and how are you keeping them in this segment?
Loaded question. So I think
It is very loaded, that's why I just asked you.
I think it's great. So we pull at oftentimes, usually once a quarter, we pull from our guest base, which exists about 100,000 people that we can pull from and pull surveys on. And we want to understand what brings you in. And interesting statistic here is that 42% of our guests that have visited us without knowing that we were plant-based at all. They just came across the location, they saw the graffiti out on the outside, they may have heard the music, they just got an overall inviting approach from curbside, right? And to follow that statistic, 79% of our guests are not vegetarian or vegan. So when you look at it and you say 42% of our first-time guests came through not knowing what it was, and then our overall amount of guests, which is 79%, aren't plant-based, that's a great thing. And when we look at what our redemption is, what our average return is, the likelihood to return, the likelihood to recommend, we start to get really confident that people, once the product's in their mouth, they understand the whole life cycle of the brand that we're building, they like to come back and support. Whether whether that's because it's something their doctor's telling them to do, whether it's something because it's better for the environment, it's better for the planet, whether it's something that they just actually like a change of pace. And this is a product that is honestly better than some of your national QSRs out there, that is a very similar approach in price. And I think that's one of the stigmas to overcome, and kind of that barrier that's created in the marketplace is plant-based is
more expensive.
It's more expensive.
Yeah.
It's tree bark. It's eating grass.
Some of the early stuff did taste like tree bark, though. So,
and fair, and I actually still eat stuff today that still tastes like that. But I think what the interesting thing about that is once you try the product and you love what the brand is building, you love the sustainability piece, you love every single aspect of the quality, the convenience, the accuracy, the speed, you kind of leave to the bottom and you're like, oh yeah, it just so happens to be plant-based. And that's kind of the cool shit that keeps the brand ticking, right? Like, people want to see that succeed because they want to see something come out and challenge the marketplace. And I couldn't be happier for the brand that we've started to build and the reception that we've got from our guests. So.
Yeah, and you're a hot brand if you can say cool shit up here, just so you guys know. So, because it is cool shit. As far as plant-based for you guys on the plant burger, your customers are coming in. Do you think that there's customers that are coming in thinking that I need to make a better and more healthy, conscious decision for what I'm eating, and that's what's also leading people to you? Jonah?
Yeah, certainly. I'll share a quick anecdote, but I'll say also, from my last response, you may have picked up on the fact that we consider ourselves a burger joint, first and foremost, that just so happens to be plant-based. And the market perception may differ, right? People may see us as a plant-based burger joint. So how do we shift that paradigm to, oh, they're just a great burger joint that also comes with health and environmental benefit? The anecdote I want to share is from our first location in Silver Spring. We had the most loyal customer coming in 4 to 5 times a week. She would sit down and eat her double burger. And I saw her so often, I developed a friendly relationship with her. One day I asked her, do you mind if I ask, why are you coming here so often? What about us makes us your favorite restaurant that you're here all the time? And she said, it's just the best burgers in town. I said, are you plant-based? Are you vegetarian? And she said, no, why do you ask? And I said, well, we're a plant-based burger joint. And she flat out refused to believe me. And it took other employees and other guests coming up to confirm that we were in fact a plant-based burger joint. And she was shocked, she was in shock and disbelief. So that speaks to the power of the product and the innovation, I think, in the industry to really convert people who are non-believers or who are somewhat resistant to new options and experimentation. But similar to what Lucas said, we did conduct internal research, and we found out if you look at the general population, around 10% of people identify as plant-based or veg-based or plant-forward, let's call them. And 90% of people are just open-minded, omnivorous. They don't have any dietary restrictions. When we analyzed our customer data, we found out that we're serving around 30% people who are plant-based, veg-oriented, and 70% that were omnivorous, open-minded, no dietary restrictions. And the people who were choosing us, who fell into that latter category, were motivated primarily for health reasons and for environmental concerns. Again, I think a lot of the times people are resistant because of preconceived notions. But if we're able to break down those barriers and just share with them, listen, if you ate this, we actually did something called the Plant Believe It Challenge. If you ate this without prior knowledge of it being plant-based, A, would you even know? And B, would it be potentially the best burger you ever had? And our preliminary research has shown that yes, it can be the best burger that people have ever had. And people are making decisions for all myriad reasons, but we aim to delight and serve the mass market, people who just are out there looking for a delicious burger. And Americans consume 50 billion hamburgers a year. So we just want to serve people more of their favorite foods, but in a way that, again, makes them understand the impact and feel good about that.
Yeah, and I think the industry's come a long way. And I think we all know the saying too, that those that go through the brick wall first are a little bloody. Do you guys feel like you're bloody because you guys are the ones out there pioneering this, or do you feel like it's gotten easier to the point where people are more receptive to the cause behind it and are more intrigued with it, and so it's a little bit of an easier landing when you open up? What would you say?
I don't look at it as I think you go back a decade ago and you look at some of these original actually trailblazers in the space that really pushed through and grind through and served tree barks to people because they knew that's what they were passionate about. I think it's kind of paved this landscape for us that we actually, as much as we think we have a higher barrier to entry, we have a great platform and a great opportunity to reach critical mass now better than any time. So I think it's just a great time to be in the space. I think it's the tip of the iceberg for where it's headed. I think that the guests are looking to consume a variety of different proteins, and I think that encompassing what we have to offer and what plant-based brands have to offer, it's an exciting thing. But I don't think we're going through a brick wall and getting bloody. I think that work's already been done. I think now it's coming to the table and being a brand that's mission driven, that takes care of the community, that puts an affordable access to plant-based alternatives as a front runner for what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, it's an incredible answer. Anything you want to add?
Well, I love that, and I'm really glad that you feel that way. I will be honest, and maybe this has to do with regional differences in the United States. The West Coast tends to be a little bit further ahead in the plant-based movement. Perhaps the West is more progressive as well. On the East Coast, I am not convinced that we are done with the job of educating and empowering consumers to make conscious choices. There are a lot of brands, and it shouldn't be the job of the restaurant to share impact statistics and to round out someone's understanding of the food system. But it's a media war. The meat and dairy industries are investing literal billions of dollars into sowing discord and confusion in the market to the point where consumers think that our product is worse for the environment. And they're confused about the health impacts. They think it may be worse for their health. So these are pretty prevalent issues that I find myself combating every day. And I think there needs to be a massive campaign to really paint a full picture in the mind of a consumer around what is happening when you choose X versus Y.
Yeah, it's really inspiring what you guys are both doing, and congratulate you guys again. Brianna, so I want to talk to you about where you're from. I asked you where you were from back there, and you said, I'm from Houston, Austin, San Antonio. So I didn't know how that trifecta worked, but you're from all, right? That's certain parts of your life. And now you're in California. So you brought some Texas-inspired recipes to California, and you started with one unit. Tell us about what's been the hardest part of that journey from being an emerging brand to where you are today, and what is the thing that's scaring you the most about going beyond?
Okay, the hardest part about going from starting to where I am
you are today. Yep.
Well,
you just have to pick one. I know there's a lot.
Yeah,
of them.
I know. The hardest part, I guess, is making decisions every day that can keep my vision for what I wanted and I dreamed of for so many years on track. So obviously we have from day to day, month to month, and year to year, especially lately, so many things coming at us that can attempt to thwart the vision and make compromises along the way. But I think really early on deciding what was most important to me, the integrity of the food, how we're sourcing, what impact we're having on the environment. Just to echo what the guys have said, we do have a great impact in what choices we make, even if we're just one unit. So thinking about as you grow, how can you improve on that, on those original choices? So along the way, we've doubled down on those commitments and made choices that improve our quality and how we're sourcing and the animal welfare and of the products that we're bringing in, and that our guests are trusting us to make choices on their behalf that are good ones, even if it means that they cost more. Figuring out how to integrate solutions into the organization that can help the operation continue to thrive and be successful, because you do have to run a profitable business. But really committing to those original pillars, which were integrity of ingredients and hospitality. So how do you maintain a hospitable environment for guests and outsiders when you're covered in a mask and you have distance? And so that was a huge moment for our team to really ask ourselves, how can we, even through something so dramatic as that challenge, maintain a commitment to hospitality and to honoring people's experiences? Because especially during that time, people were venturing out of their homes and making decisions to come out and trust that we were going to also, treat their experience with health and safety and caution. So, but how do you connect with that and really make that moment count? Because those moments of interaction for people were so reduced. So along the way, just really figuring out how to work with a team, hear from your guests, and just dig into those commitments. So for me, it just, everybody told me in the beginning that you can't serve tacos with this high level of integrity of food. It's just not possible. I'd worked for Thomas Keller for 4 years, and I saw what was possible when you source beautiful food and when you work with farmers that that treat their animals with care and respect. And they said, you just can't do that. And I said, well, why not? They said, well, it's just not feasible. And I said, I really want to try. I really want to try and provide this level of access to more people that can, and if you can present it in a casual setting at a lower price point, wouldn't that be amazing? So everybody said, you can't. And so along the way, we have proven that you can, and you can continue to push how far you can go. And so that's what I guess I'm most excited about, is looking to the future. Guys, we're almost 8 years old, or we're almost 9. And I feel like we're just getting started with, how much impact we can have. And along the way too, we've made commitments to the community around us. We've engaged with community members and artists to create their own band taco. It's a really unique program that's been a lot of fun, and that's been another way for us to commit to our communities. And it's innovative, it's creative, and it's fun. And we have explored different tacos that we never thought we'd make, because we partner with artists that we allow them to make their dream taco, and we use it to raise money. Cool. And so that's just been a really wonderful experience. It has just, again, allowed us to double down on those commitments. And I think that was the question.
That was a good answer, Bree.
Thanks.
Also, what about the future? So as you think about the future for growth, what's the number one thing that's probably got you most concerned? The one that you kind of open your eyes and go, I don't know about that yet.
I think losing the potential losing your commitment to those things, those pillars, the pressure of outside forces, the changing marketplace, and the variables that come with sourcing. Those are things that we're all dealing with. Labor market, but how do we connect with our guests? I mean, not just with our guests, with our team is the most important thing for me. I want to always make sure that we can maintain our connection to our team members, so that everybody can feel fostered. I think we're always working on pathways for development for our team members, so we can allow them facilities to grow and achieve their dreams. And so, yeah.
I want to kind of come work for Homestate. Sounds cool there.
You should. We're hiring. Hiring.
You're hiring right now. We're all hiring, so we'll all hire each other. Lucas, let's talk about growth. What is your growth outlook right now for the coming 2 years, let's call it? We're going to kind of go down the line here, so Jeff, be ready.
Yeah.
You're a hot concept, so obviously growth is imminent, I believe. So what's the plan?
So I just noticed that I'm on TV. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool. So for growth for us, it's not a matter of units open. People always get that confused when you're in this stage and you're hyper scaling. Are you going to double or are you going to triple your footprint? No, growth for us is internally growing revenues, obviously important, growing the team and developing the team, so that at some point in this long horizon, we actually have an opportunity ahead of us in which we're able to go out there and do what we're saying. In terms of what our corporate growth is going to look like, we're going to continue to open up around 12 locations per year, and we're going to introduce franchising. We've started to interview a lot, and we have all of our documents in a row, but we're going to start introducing franchising going into 2023 and meet the 12 to 12 ratio, 1-to-1 ratio here. 12 corporate, 12 franchise, and we're going to continue to do that over about the next 3 years and see what system that brings out. What opportunities do we have? What can we perfect? What can we fix? What internal problems do we need to iron out during that process? But for us, it's never a matter of going out there and saying, hey, we're going to open up 1,000 units over the next decade. It's not interesting to us. Is our team growing? Are our revenues growing? Are our guest counts growing? If the answer is all yes in parallel, then we start to put a little bit more fuel on the fire. We start to edge it a little bit more aggressively and start to take market share in other markets. But for the meantime, the only things that's important to Project Pollo today is, are people returning often? does our team love working for us, right? And our revenue, same store sales and system sales increasing? The answer right now, currently today, is yes. That's why we're putting fuel on the fire.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because we always look at, as a firm at groups and think, it's really about quality versus quantity. And when they got that backwards, where they're thinking, well, look how many we are opening.
Right.
And it's like, well, 50% of them are not making money and your franchisees are upset. It's not really a system that's going to be growing for very long.
No, this is all about strategy. It's just exactly like you said. It's quality site selection. It's quality process going into it. It's quality product. It's quality training. Everything you want to do, you look at it as if you only have one shot to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you want to go play basketball and leave the game and say, man, I really only played at 40% today. Like, that's never a thing. What did you leave on the court? And that's the same thing with opening new market selection is, did we make the most strategic, educated decision on the new site location? Did we develop the team accordingly? Were they in training long enough? Was our new store opening process completely ironclad with very limited mistakes? And are we offering that experience to the community that we talk about in our home state of Texas? And as we continue to scale and open up outside of Texas this year, the proof has to be in the pudding. Are we going to back what we say?
Yeah.
And that's the stage of our evolution, which I'm completely excited about, because I'm betting on us. And I think that if all those things come together, all pieces of the pie fit correctly together, then we become an unstoppable force along the horizon of the next decade.
Sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
Jeff, what do you think?
Lucas
Growth.
said it all. I mean,
He said it all? Should we just skip you?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I like the one shot. I think of Eminem, and what if you had one shot, one opportunity, right? I mean, that's where I go everywhere. That's where I go every time for an opening. It's you do only have one shot. For us, there's so many variables in the opening process from site selection and everything else Lucas said, and any one of those can go wrong. And this year alone, 2022, we should have had 3 open, and we only got 1.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. And you know what? We're not going to force it. We're not going to try and, overdo it and push things that just aren't meant to be just to hit a number. But if you're asking me for numbers, we're shooting for 4 in 23 and 4 in 24. But again, it might be 5 in 23 now, because one is pushing.
None of us
in.
control timelines like we used to, right?
No.
I remember when we used to set dates and we were like 1 week before, after the date we set, like a year in advance. We were amazing.
Yeah.
And now we're lucky if we're in the right quarter. Right. I mean, it's that bad for us.
There's too many variables now.
Yeah.
Way too many variables.
Jonah, what about you guys? What can we expect with Plant Burger?
Well, we definitely want to continue growing our location count, but I agree with what Lucas said. Impact and success in my mind has to do with the amount of people we reach, the growth of the audience, and the market that we sell to. I'm really encouraged when I see guest counts increasing in just a single unit, when year-to-year sales are up. So again, impact is about reach, and we need to get into new geographies in order to serve new demographics and new audiences. But it comes down to, I think, a lot of the things were already mentioned. And so that's what's got me excited about our growth.
Awesome. Brianna, growth,
Well,
what should we expect?
Growth. Well, it's very exciting. We're right now just in Southern California in Los Angeles, and we're opening our first restaurant out of market in northern San Diego. So that's very exciting for us. There's an Amtrak that we can hop on that will allow us to visit the store frequently and with ease. But we know it's really important that we stay focused, because it is. I feel like we have a wide open marketplace right now. It's really such an amazing opportunity to have something. There's my husband calling. To have such a wide open space where, I always ask myself, why hasn't anyone else entered this space that we're in California? And I think there are a lot of answers to that I have personally thought of and others have suggested. I think the perspective that we have, being from Texas and sharing such a personal story, combined with the background in fine dining, combined with a commitment to our team and the workplace, is really unique. And so, we have a really unique approach to sharing the items on our menu. It's not just the items on our menu. I always say we serve hospitality first. We also happen to serve tacos. So it's our biggest driver. So that said, we are trying to be measured about our growth so that we don't trip over our own feet. We have grown slower than I think a lot of other concepts because I really wanted to nail our foundation and really get comfortable and confident with our ability to execute our vision and learn, figure out the challenges along the way, and then, really build a team that could commit to building with unity, kind of a unified vision, a unified passion, dedicated to the same things. And we have an amazing team now. Our leadership team is so impressive. We have 2 people in the audience today from our team, and I'm so inspired by them. And now I feel like we have so much momentum. We have the strength and dedication of the team. So now it's about filling in space in Southern California and seeing what other markets are right for us. I do feel that. I do feel like is it Denver? I mean, Denver is so close to Los Angeles and a quick flight. So we're really being strategic about where we're going to go outside a market and when. It might not be for a while because we do have so much space in Southern California, and we are the only ones there. So we want to be careful, but also a bit more aggressive than we've been so far.
You got to be careful in Las Vegas too, because when you go and you make money, a lot of times you leave it there. So be very careful there. We own restaurants there. Obviously, with the growth that you guys have all planned out, it takes money. We have allocated over $100 million for growth over the next 12 months for our portfolio. It's very expensive to grow right now. I'm sure most of the emerging brands here want to know, how are you guys funding this? Are you guys funding this off of cash? Are you guys doing this through bank debt, which doesn't really exist anymore because it's so dang expensive? Or are you guys doing this from outside sources? Can we just go back to you then, Lucas? Is that all right?
Yeah, of course it's okay.
Because you were thinking about the answer for a while, so.
Sure, yeah, funding is challenging. Going back a year ago, it wasn't as challenging, but for us and internally as our brand, a couple of things are really crucial in the full life cycle of what we need to capitalize. So I bootstrapped most of the initial progress of the company and redirected any earnings back into growth. We hit a stage where growth and the amount of operational excellence and overhead we needed as a company exceeded the amount of revenue coming in, the amount of earnings coming in. So we brought in a couple angel investors. And really though, I think outside of the funding piece, this is an important part of our growth is our whole team understands we're at war right now. Every single person in the company understands we're at war. What does that mean? That means that every day everyone comes to work, they are being as frugal and as economical as possible. That is with the build out of locations, that is with even site selection, that's with their inventories, that's with their labor, that's with basic small wares. They're all being very, very resourceful and having a war mentality of like, hey, there's a target on our back right now. And other emerging brands are coming after exactly what we're doing. Mm-hmm. So they're smart on the back end, which is preserving cash and capital. And our leadership team is preserving the amount of overhead that's required by being very, very, very smart with the recruitment and the overall life cycle of the employee, right? And that makes sense, right? Every single turnover. So like this year for our company, our turnover is at 28%. I mean, it's a great number to have, and we're very happy, and we're going to go from 250 employees to 400 by the end of this year. And these metrics, although might not seem as if they're relevant, those savings that we're getting because of the high retention that we do have is offsetting so much capital that would otherwise be deployed towards basically being thrown away. So funding's super hard, preserve cash, really preserve cash. And make an importance to go over every single person with your team, every single person in your organizations, how crucial they are in part of the overall finances of the business, and be transparent with them in that process.
Yeah, because the cheapest way to grow your business is the cash you're making, right? And
absolutely.
so to get every level of the company to be looking at the war, as you call it, I love that.
Yeah,
it's really, really good advice.
Yeah.
Jeff, what are you guys doing to fund this growth?
Well, right now, I mean, COVID for us ended on, I think, Mother's Day 2020 in Texas and in Florida. So we've been pretty busy, and there hasn't been a lot of growth in that period of time also. So we've been funding our latest restaurants, ourselves, gotcha. Which is, we've been blessed with that. But in the future, we know that we'll need a bank line, and that's something that we do have secured.
Fantastic. So, yeah. What about you, John?
We, to this point, have been internally financed, just from our founding team. The strategy that you mentioned with Whole Foods Market, enabling us to open up restaurants on a shoestring budget, has really helped with that. We're now entering into our first outside fundraising round, so working with venture capitalists and some celebrities and institutional investors. More to come on that soon. Stay tuned. Everyone follow Plant Burger right now. If you have your phones, follow us on Instagram. Yeah, it's going to hit an inflection point soon. We are in a race to win the burger wars again, and this time it really does matter. I mean, who gets to market first? So this next phase of growth is going to be much more aggressive and thoughtful, strategic at the same time. So yeah, I think the other question is, proving the market. And that's something that I feel very proud to be doing on the stage with all these other people doing the same thing. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, good luck to you. Brianna, what about future funding for growth? How are you guys going to do it?
Well, we were lucky in 2019 to partner with a really wonderful private equity group, and
You can plug them. What's their name?
Carp Riley.
Yeah, Carp Riley's great.
So it was unexpected. It really wasn't something I was seeking at the time, but it did come at a great time pre-pandemic. They've been really wonderful partners, and we are we're looking at our next round for growth. And so, looking at everything that's on the table, getting super creative, looking, like you said, banks, it's not a place really that's going to lend to somebody who's in an early stage growth that we are in. We've invested heavily in our G&A because I believe that you can only climb as high as your team can allow you to grow without falling. So we've invested heavily in our G&A. We're primed for growth, and we are looking for, really any creative solution in addition to additional private equity funding.
Fantastic. Well, at the close of this, I just want to say it has been a pleasure getting to know each of you. Your brands are exceptional. Again, congratulations to each of you for being the hot boys and girl at the dance.